A celebration of life is planned for early October to honor a veteran homicide detective turned businessman.
Chuck Lee spent years as a homicide cop and also investigator for the district attorney, then co-founded one of the largest auto dealerships in the entire state. He even owned a piece of a brothel for a while.
The I-Team's George Knapp knew Chuck Lee and reported on some of his most famous cases.
And the cause of death were 2 gunshot wounds to the back and 1 to the back of the head.
As a veteran homicide detective, Chuck Lee was no stranger to grisly crime scenes. The murder he described in this 2015 interview had occurred way back in 1969. The body of a small-time Boston hood named Pete Paulos was found in a desert gully off State Route 16. Paulos had been on his way to Las Vegas in the company of 2 notorious hitmen, Steve the Rifleman Flemmy and Cadillac Frank Salemi, both of whom worked for Boston Rackets boss Whitey Bulger. When Lee and his boss, Sheriff Ralph Lamb, tried to get information about the victim and suspects from the Boston FBI, they ran into a brick wall. Years later, it was learned that some in the Boston FBI were in league with Whitey Bulger. Lee went to work for Lamb's Sheriff's Department in 1967, before Metro even existed. Among his biggest cases were the deadly fires at the MGM and Hilton hotels. Lee always suspected both fires had been set by the same person. He later became a polygraph expert and put that talent to use as an investigator for the Clark County DA. After leaving law enforcement, he co-founded the Courtesy Auto Dealership chain. Then, in the early 2000s, bought 300 acres of land in Nye County that happened to be home to Sherry's Ranch, a legal brothel. Lee and his partners poured millions into modernizing the bordello industry. In 1997, Lee ran for Clark County Sheriff, but lost to Jerry Keller. His fiancée, Elizabeth Schwartz, says Lee had struggled with health issues for the past year. He was 82. George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Chuck Lee was born in Chicago but lived in southern Nevada for 51 of his 82 years, and details about the upcoming celebration of life have not yet been made public. We'll let you know when we find out.